cult
Okay.
films like Angamali Diaries, Kumlangi Nights, Deshinde Pratikaram, I saw Joji, Nyan Prakashan. So my connection with Kerala is it's like an art film with subtitles for me. It's just
Oh.
beautiful. It's like stunning, stunning, stunning place. Honestly, tell me, Sanish, what is better than rice and fish curry?
Made in Kerala, made in Kerala.
The guest on today's episode of Radio City Original Made in Kerala, powered by Joy Alucas, and someone you may not find on internet. But his latest film is a blockbuster worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, Chetamare Chechimare, we have with us the man behind over 600 advertisements and the prolific editor of the blockbuster Brahmastra. സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യാം മലയാളികളുടെ സ്വന്തം പ്രകാശ് കുറുപ്പ്. നമസ്കാരം സർ.
Thank you for having me on your show, Sanish. I don't
Sir,
usually do this, do that, yeah, but thank you for having me here.
എനിക്കറിയാം സർ. ഇന്റർനെറ്റിൽ കുത്തിരുന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചിട്ടും എനിക്ക് ഒരു വീഡിയോയും കാര്യമായ ഒരു ഫോട്ടോസും സാറിനെ കണ്ടില്ല.
Yeah, first of all, apologies. I'm not very confident when I'm speaking Malayalam. So everybody listening, I love the language. Please know that. Strangely, I can read and write Malayalam, but I think my family has not been encouraging. The moment I open my mouth, okay, I'm like a film myself. And it's not very encouraging. But ഞാൻ പ്രയത്നിച്ചു നോക്കാം. Okay.
സോ സർ, സാധാരണ നമ്മൾ പറയാറ് ഈ ലോകത്തിന്റെ എവിടെ ഏത് അറ്റത്ത് പോയാലും ഏത് ബ്രഹ്മാണ്ടത്തിൽ പോയാലും അവിടെ ഒരു മലയാളി ഉണ്ടാകുന്നു. ബ്രഹ്മാണ്ടത്തിൽ മാത്രമല്ല സർ, ബ്രഹ്മാസ്ത്രയിലും ഒരു മലയാളി ഉണ്ട്, പ്രകാശ് കുറുപ്പ് എന്ന മലയാളി. I want to ask you the first question. What is your connection with Brahmastra?
Purely the connection with Brahmastra would be I'm the editor of the film. And but there was a lot that happened around the 7 years I worked on it. My director himself worked on it for 10 years,
Okay.
which is quite crazy. And my connection is I like to do all things creative. So I like to feel, not call myself the creative editor of the film, because what we do, my company does, is post-production. Post-production, like everybody knows, anything after the shoot is called post. It could be audio, video, and I love editing. Okay, it's therapeutic for me. I love the process. If anything calms me down, it is editing. I can just sit and do hours and hours of editing. And specific to your questions, Sanish, I just go in different tangents. You have to
No,
pull
no,
me
no,
back.
absolutely.
Okay,
No problem.
to be very specific to your question, I was the editor of the film, but I also, Ayan was amazing enough to include me in all the little creative things and the processes that went into Brahmastra, which you can ask me, what it's like a VFX film, right?
Okay.
So it's not just a film. There's a lot that goes into it, and not only did I get access to all departments which help make the film, but it's also opened my world quite a bit, and it happens to be my first feature film. So in a way, I should be very fortunate that it was Brahmastra that came my way as my first. Yeah, my first ever long length feature film. I did advertising before that. Yeah.
ഞാൻ വളരെയധികം എൻജോയ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് സാർ ഈ സിനിമ കണ്ടത്. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു എക്സൈറ്റ്മെന്റിന് കൂടുതൽ കൊണ്ടായിരിക്കാം ഞാൻ അതിന്റെ എൻഡ് ടൈറ്റിൽസും കുത്തിയിരുന്ന് കണ്ടു. അങ്ങനെയാണ് അതിൽ പ്രകാശ് കുറുപ്പ് എന്ന പേര് വന്നതും. പേരിൽ കുറിപ്പുള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് ഉറപ്പായിരുന്നു അതൊരു മലയാളിയാണെന്ന്. മലയാളി ആയതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഷോയിൽ നമ്മൾ വിളിച്ചേ പറ്റൂ. അങ്ങനെയാണ് സാറിനെ കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്തതും ഈ ഷോവും ഈ ഇന്റർവ്യൂവും ഇപ്പോൾ നടക്കുന്നതും. ബ്രഹ്മാസ്ത്രയുടെ കഥ ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാം. ഇനി അറിയാനുള്ളത് പ്രകാശ് കുറുപ്പ് എന്ന മലയാളിയുടെ കഥയാണ്. സോ ഐ ഹാവ് ടു ആസ്ക് യു യുവർ ഫ്ലാഷ് ബാക്ക്, യുവർ കുട്ടിക്കാലം, യുവർ കണക്ഷൻ വിത്ത് കേരള. നാട്ടിൽ എവിടെയായിരുന്നു സർ? നമുക്ക് അവിടെ നിന്ന് തുടങ്ങാം.
So my roots are Calicut, Kozhikode, right? Yeah, and if you want the address, I can only tell you that it's around the Tedipalam district, right?
Okay.
Connection with Kerala? Well, I grew up in Mumbai, so I've been born and brought up there, pretty much raised there. Schooling, college, all in Kerala. But my family, my mom's side and dad's side of the family, they're all, in Calicut. And school vacations are the, months that we used to get to go to Calicut. I'm not an expert, but I can just tell you that demographically, what used to be a village is slowly getting modern, which is great. But going to my village, in Kerala, while in school, it used to be beautiful, okay? And especially if it rains. And I always think of Kerala as a shade card of greens, okay? You name the green that you have in a Pantone, you know, Asian paint card. We have that green over there. It's just beautiful. And you don't have to have any assistance. You can wander through the forest, go to the fields. We had an advantage of being on a small hill, but we used to go down, cross my uncle's house or my mama's house, some ancestral house, and the wells without boundary with some multicolored turtles just doing backflips inside. Where do you get that? And it just used to be beautiful. You want to just go take a dip in the river nearby, you go there. And honestly, tell me, Sanish, what is better than rice and fish curry? Tell me, okay, right?
Totally.
You sit and eat that. You just
I'm already
imagine
hungry.
people violence for you, and like everything is just perfect, okay? And the herbs that grow, in your backyard, okay? Everything is accessible. Going on top of a mango tree, you know what I'm talking about? Just lying down on the tree. It's still unexplored. Even the little patch of village that I have, I still have to go and do some rounds. So my connection with Kerala is, there's a pause, and it's like an art film with subtitles for me. It's just
Wow.
beautiful. It's like stunning, stunning, stunning place.
So, Cheta, I want to ask you, why I'm calling you Cheta is because you have very specifically said that you don't like to be addressed as sir. So, in
Yeah, I'll
between,
walk out the moment you call me, sir.
എഡിറ്റിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു ടെക്നിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ടാസ്ക് ആണ്, ഒരു പ്രൊഫഷൻ ആണ്, റൈറ്റ്? എങ്ങനെയാണ് എഡിറ്റിംഗ് ലൈഫിന്റെ ഒരു ഭാഗമാകാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു എന്താ പറയാ, ഒരു പ്രൊഫഷൻ ആകാമെന്ന് ചിന്തിച്ചത് എപ്പോഴായിരുന്നു? How did that happen?
So see, I'll be very honest about it. Then here's where I'll have to go a little back on my, what I liked and till how I did what I am doing even now. So school and then college. And around school, in the last few years of my school, I realized I could sketch. Okay. I'm self-taught. I give myself 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, but I can sketch. And obviously animation was something I was very fascinated by. And fast forward to college, I realized towards the end of my college. By the way, in college, people listening to this, any youngsters, please don't think it's a template for college. But I never sat in any of the lectures, okay? Because our college didn't demand it.
Okay.
But I used to travel to a faraway place in Mumbai. Like if I'm in the suburbs, I used to travel to town, which is like a 15-minute ride in a train, and I used to illustrate for comics.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
There was this person named Shakir Ibrahim, and he wanted news to be diluted for people to read, for kids to read. And we had it doesn't exist anymore. I don't think comics really do well in Mumbai.
Okay.
I think it was called The World in Pictures. Okay. It had many different stories. Like if you take a newspaper, you have many different stories, right? So we see it in form of comics, right? And I interviewed and I have a little advantage of sketching fast. My memory drawing is good. Like I can make figures well. I'm not boasting. I'm just saying what it is like. And I used to earn in college, not sitting for lectures, but I used to do comics. Okay.
Yeah,
And then
so that makes sense.
A friend of mine, he told my parents that, listen, he's so good at sketching and he likes animation. Why doesn't he go and learn animation?
Okay.
Again, fast forward to just around the end of the last 2 years, I started learning 3D animation. I got a job at the place where I was teaching. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. I met 2 of my best friends. We are like brothers. Okay, and it's quite fascinating. So I met 2 really close childhood friends. One a Bori Muslim, one a Parsi. And they need a Mallu from Mumbai, all Mumbai born, okay, all born in the same year.
Okay.
Except that I'm Jan born, and they're November and December.
Okay.
And I got a job there as an instructor, and they got a job as an instructor too. Like my colleague, one of my colleague, he used to teach 3D. The other one used to teach Photoshop, Corel Draw, Ventura, etc. All softwares. And I was a 2D teacher. That's where we met our boss, who was our common student. And he was 4 years younger to us. And we started, and that's exactly when non-linear editing came into play. And there were many other instructors, mind you, but for some reason, I don't know if it's scripted or not, the three of us were approached by him. My boss's name is Namit Malhotra. My colleagues are Huzaifa and Merzin. And he met us. He spoke to us about non-linear editing, which I had nothing in my mind, but I found it fascinating. One of us took a decision that we should do what this person is suggesting, and we started in a garage. Okay, so did I look for editing as a career? This is almost 28, 30 years ago, by the way. No, but it's something we had to try, right? And I'll tell you, the beauty of it was the three of us, me and my colleagues, loved it. We took to it like, fish would take to water. And I don't think that graph ever dipped. We just kept on doing stuff. That's how editing came to me. I didn't look for editing, but I found out I'm bad at it.
ഇനി ഞാൻ പറയാൻ പോകുന്നത് ഒരു ഫ്ലാഷ് ബാക്ക് ആണ്. കൃത്യമായി പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു 13 വർഷം പുറകോട്ട് പോകേണ്ടി വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ആ ഫ്ലാഷ് ബാക്കിൽ ഒരു യങ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫിലിം മേക്കർ സാറിന്റെ ഓഫീസിലേക്ക് വരുന്നു. ആ ഫിലിം മേക്കർ വന്നതിന് ശേഷം സാറിനോട് ചോദിക്കുന്നത് ഒരു പാട്ട് എഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനാണ്. ആ പാട്ട് എഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് പുള്ളി കാണാൻ ഇടയാവുകയും ആ പാട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ട് പുള്ളി അതിന്റെ ഫൈനൽ ഔട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ട് പുള്ളി ഏകദേശം ഒരു 5 മിനിറ്റോളം സോഫയിൽ നിർത്താതെ തുള്ളിച്ചാടി എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. ആ യങ് ഫിലിം മേക്കറും സാറും തമ്മിൽ ഒരു കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. ആ ഫിലിം മേക്കറും ബ്രഹ്മാസ്ത്രയും തമ്മിൽ ഒരു കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അതാണ് എന്റെ അടുത്ത ചോദ്യം. സർ, ആ കഥ എന്താണ്?
So this is about Ayan, and I first met him when it was a strange experience because he had reached out to my colleague, and we were supposed to do the title song of Wake Up Sid, which comes in the end along with the rolling credits. My colleague, he said, why don't you come along too so we can do this together, because I think there was a time crunch. And we went to meet Ayan, and I think on the way down from a building, my colleague slipped and he sprained his ankle. Okay, and then suddenly he was not around anymore. And while he did the end of the song, I had to manage the bulk of the song, and it was nice because that whole bit went very well. I think Ayan really liked it. I remember him giving me a book by the end, and which was good, which I treasure a lot. And we moved on to I'll pause there. And then when Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani came along, there was a song after the interval called Ilahi, which was very montage driven, and I love montage based edits. And Ayan approached me again for that, so I worked on that. And between these films, there were commercials that he would shoot, so I have edited a lot of his commercials as well. And then when eventually he wrote Brahmastra, he approached my boss. He said, okay, I want you to read the script because it's VFX driven, and I would like to have Merzin, who's my colleague and who now handles Double Negative India, and he would like to have me on board to just be a creative part of it. And I think after a few sessions of all the prior meetings of Brahmastra, I was involved in editing the animatics and previs, and eventually he found that I was very keen to edit the film, and he said okay for that as well. So very fortunate that my first ever full-length film was Brahmastra. I was a part of such an amazing project. Yeah, so that's how I got to be with Ayan.
The one thing which I love about Brahmastra is the fact that you have kept it very Indian, rooted to our culture. What I want to ask you is that what is the brief that came to you, or probably the guidelines you followed throughout the making of this film?
See, when you read the script such as Brahmastra, all that you know, all the guidelines were there for one to read. Okay. But, you know, but I don't know how much you remember the film, but the fact that there were Astras involved. Okay. And there was a talk in, we had a very special core team, small team. And whenever we would sit and Ayan would involve us in the process of thinking about the film, the idea was always, here's a script in words. Okay. It sounds Indian. Okay. Now, how do we translate that into visual form? Okay.
Mm.
So eventually, any software would give you a set number of effects. I remember we didn't do it, and I don't know why it never took off. There was a little idea wherein, let's say, some magical object, let's call it the Astra, comes to life.
Mm.
Let's say it comes alive. It's an object. It's not alive yet, but when it comes alive, there could be effects like the way you see the effects. But what if there were, instead of particles, are you with me so far? Instead
Yes.
of magical particles, what if there were Sanskrit syllables that came out? It was an idea, you know.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
that makes it a little Indian. Similarly, see, listen, a lot of the weapons that we see in Brahmastra has Indian names like Zanandi Astra, Pavan Astra,
Mm.
Agni Astra, that itself contributes to the Indianness of it. And the fact that it's all come from our mythology, our rishis,
Yes.
you know, the the whole tapasya angle, and then
Yes.
praying for power, getting normalcy into the world, yet having a weapon that can destroy the whole world. So creating a sense of balance and all those things. I think Ayan, when he wrote it, he really crafted it beautifully. So there was no brief per se, but I think it was all understood. It was quite simple. It was all there to see. And I don't know if you've seen Ayan's interview. He was in the
Mm.
mountains recceing for Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani. And
Mm-hmm.
it's in one of the interviews. I'll see if I can send you the link.
Okay.
It's time when he thought about Brahmastra, and he almost
Oh,
cancelled Ye Jawaani Hai Deewani. And he said, that's the film I want to make. That's the film I want to make. But everybody just said,
wow.
this is make this. Yeah. So it's come to him quite early, quite early. And I know I'm going a little off here, but then there's been a lot of talk about how we have borrowed in terms of effects. No, this film has been in the making for 10 years. So some comparisons are very coincidental. That was never the intention. We try to make it as original as we could.
ചേട്ടാ നമ്മള് ഈ ലേമാൻ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, സാധാരണക്കാർ പറയുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്തിനാണ് ആനിമേഷനും VFX-ലും ലേഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇൻഫ്യൂസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സിനിമകൾക്ക് ഇത്രയും സമയം എടുക്കുന്നത്, എന്തിനാണ് ഇത്രയധികം പൈസ ചെലവ് വരുന്നത് എന്നാണ് സാധാരണ ചോദിക്കാറ്. ഫോർ സച്ച് പീപ്പിൾ we want to know what is the challenge or probably what are the challenges involved in making such films. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇവർക്ക് ഇത്രയും സമയവും ഇത്രയും പൈസയും ചെലവ് വരുന്നത്?
See, any film that's just on paper, okay?
Mm.
Let's just talk about Brahmastra here. The
Mhm.
beauty of it was there is no set effect. Like,
Oh.
there is no set template while writing. I want the effect to be exactly like this, and here's the reference, okay?
Oh, oh.
The good thing about it is the limiting, I won't call it the bad thing. First, the limiting thing about it is, okay, you don't know what you want. But the great thing about it,
You can do whatever you want.
it's a blank canvas, right? You can do what the hell you want to. You can do what you want to. And no, we didn't do that with Brahmastra. We went through the processes of animatics and previs. If you want, I can talk to you more about it. And there's always a lot of brainstorming, referencing Indian colors, palettes. In fact, there was even a historian involved who would tell us what is correct, what is wrong. So going back to VFX, these things take time. Okay, these things really take time. And because every shot, depending on the complexity or the simplicity of the shot, every shot, like a single shot of VFX, doesn't involve one person. It could involve a creative head, but there are several departments, doing step one, then the second department doing step two, step three. Sometimes many departments simultaneously doing things and it coming finally to a single piece. It takes a little time. And because this film was very specific. We were trying to tell something that's not done in the films of our country so far in Brahmastra. We took our time to perfect it, Okay. I'm not saying the VFX fell short. I'm saying the VFX was good, but it can always get better, right? Like if suddenly you have to rewind time and instead of September release, if you tell me, okay, take another year, you'd still work on Brahmastra for a year and keep, making it better and better. Of course, people will kill us taking one more year for Brahmastra. I think we'll kill ourselves. But it takes time. There's a lot of planning that's gone in.
ഈ നമ്മളുടെ എപ്പിസോഡിലുണ്ടല്ലോ ഇതുവരെയായിട്ടും വന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഗസ്റ്റും ഓസ്കർ അവാർഡ് കയ്യിൽ പിടിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. ചില ഫിലിംസ് ആയ ഗ്രാവിറ്റി, അവതാർ, ട്യൂൺ, ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ചില ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ പ്രൊജക്ട്സിലുമായിട്ട് ചേട്ടനെ ഒരു ഇൻഡയറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടെന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് അറിയാൻ സാധിച്ചത്. അത് മാത്രമല്ല ഈ അവാർഡ്സ് കയ്യിൽ പിടിക്കാനുള്ള ഭാഗ്യവും ചേട്ടന് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. എന്താണ് കഥ?
Listen, there's nothing much as there's all the praise that I have to give should go to my boss, Namit Malhotra. He's hungry when we kind of tap Bollywood and VFX here. He always wanted to work on Hollywood films. And at some point, Double Negative, we partnered with Double Negative. Now he heads it. Double Negative is one of the top 5 VFX companies in the world. Okay, we do a lot of films. And for Brahmastra, I had to travel to London with Ayan because I'm the traveling editor. So I go everywhere he goes, which is great. And I'm thankful for that. When I first went to Double Negative, my boss was there. And I remember it's a beautiful building, the Double Negative building. It's all glass from 4 sides. It's hollow from top. There's a cafe on the floor. The vibe is like astounding. And when I walked in and he was there in the corner, this is the first time entering Double Negative. I see my boss. He just does this, come. And I was still like,
Figuring it out. Yeah.
Amazed. All the sights and sounds, and I'm getting a sense of it. And he's like, come. And he just took me to this glass, right there down in a glass showcase of sorts. And I saw this 5 or 3, 4 Oscars because that was a while ago. We have more now. And he opened it and it's like, hold it. And I held it. So it's the Oscars, right? Like, what do you do? How do there are instances in your life that the moment you experience it, it's permanent. It's never gonna go. I can still feel it in my hand. Okay? Dude, it's the Oscar you're holding. I didn't know what to say. I don't know whether I said something. I just looked at him with my mouth open. And yeah, it was really surreal. And it was very, very special. Very special. So if you ever go to London, let me know. I'll make sure you hold one too.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. Let me know if you're ever in London. Seriously.
Thank you so much. That's like a great invite I've ever received in my life with a purpose.
Yeah.
Sheta, do you know that we share a common love story?
Have I offended you in any way?
I love ads. So do you.
Right. Right.
And you are madly in love so much that you have edited over 600 commercials, ad films so far. അത് മാത്രമല്ല അഡ്വർടൈസിംഗിന്റെ ഓസ്കാർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആബീസ് ആ അവാർഡ്സും 1, 2 അല്ല 3 തവണ കിട്ടിയെന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് അറിയാൻ സാധിച്ചത്. So my question is that given a choice, ad films ആണോ feature films ആണോ എഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ ഒരു പ്രിഫറൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവുക?
And I'll give my honest answer to that question. Listen, I don't think my brain really segregates the audiovisual experience. Okay. I had somebody from the Dharma team and she just came to me and she said, Prax, they call me Prax. So my Prax, I have something very strange to ask you. So tell me. So she said, will you cut my show reel? So show reels are made, you know what a show reel
Yes,
is,
yes,
right?
yes. It's a portfolio.
She heads a department. So I looked at her and I got really excited by the fact that I have to cut a show reel. Okay. To answer your question, if it involves some form of editing, I don't mind. I love editing music videos. Yeah, I really don't mind. It could be show. I told you in our previous conversation, I've done cookery shows. It's all fun. But I'll tell you something very specific that has happened, and I never thought that would hit me so hard, is that, and I love ads, okay? I love cutting ads and I love working on ads because it's not just editing it, but the script comes to you. Sometimes the directors are inclusive. They ask you. There has been processes where I have storyboarded my own ad and I've cut it and I have online it. So all that has happened. I love that process and I have supervised the colors and I've supervised the CG in it. Brahmastra, okay? When you do a film like that, and that's your first feature film, nothing can come close to that experience yet. You know what I'm trying to say? I've been on it for 7 years. It's huge. So there are certain ad filmmakers that I love to work with, and I would always want to work with. But I think I think going ahead, I'll have to really rethink what I need to do with it. It will be nice if I have the freedom to pick and choose what I want to do in ads because I think I have to rethink what I do next.
മലയാളം സിനിമകളൊക്കെ കാണാറുണ്ടോ?
Of course,
What's your take on our films?
Manikantan sir was the
Okay.
chief cinematographer for Brahmastra, and he got friendly with him. I got to know him a little better, and he had given me a list of all the films that I should watch. Okay, funnily, coming from a Tamilan, he's getting a Malayali to watch Malayalam films, and Brahmastra really kept us occupied. We really had the luxury of time because it was that kind of a film. We're very involved in the processes. So one thing I had decided the moment Brahmastra is over, I'm just going to go and watch films that I think I'll be embarrassed to say I'm watching it after so many years. Cult
Okay.
films like Angamali Diaries, Kumlangi Nights, Deshinde Pratikaram, I saw Joji, Nyan Prakashan. Like if you have to go to a list of good Malayalam films that you can watch, I think I'll be spending 3 months in front of a screen, 8 hours a day, just watching stuff. Is just amazing. It's just amazing. And I say it with a lot of pride. That's great, right? Like it's a well with a water that's full all the time. It's just amazing.
കേരളം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ലാൻഡ് ഓഫ് സ്പൈസസ് ആണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് എന്റെ അവസാന ചോദ്യം കുറച്ച് സ്പൈസിയാണ്. ബ്രഹ്മാസ്ത്ര 1 നമ്മൾ കണ്ടു, അതിന്റെ കഥയും എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും അറിഞ്ഞു. ഇനി ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയേണ്ടത് ബ്രഹ്മാസ്ത്ര 2 കുറിച്ചാണ്. ഒരുപാട് സ്പെക്കുലേഷൻസും റൂമേഴ്സും ഇപ്പോൾ ഇന്റർനെറ്റിലുണ്ട്. ഇന്നയാളാണ് അഭിനയിക്കുന്നത്, ഇന്നയാളല്ല എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്. Can we get any insight info about it?
The simple answer is no. Because even I don't know. And you're right, it's just rumors. Okay. Talks are still on. I think by the time it comes, it will come when the time comes. Okay. Honestly, no one knows. I think it's just Ayan, and Ayan will figure that out. I'm really sorry if I'm disappointed you with the answer.
Okay. അപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾ കാത്തിരിക്കേണ്ടി വരും എന്നർത്ഥം. കാത്തിരിക്കാം.
Right.
ചേട്ടാ, താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് ഫോർ ബീങ് ഇൻ ദ ഷോ. ഒരു നല്ലൊരു കോൺവെർസേഷൻ ആണ്. ഒരുപാട് ഇൻസൈറ്റ്സ് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടി എഡിറ്റിങ്ങിനെ കുറിച്ച്. വി വിഷ് യു ഓൾ ദ വെരി ബെസ്റ്റ്. അധികം വൈകാതെ തന്നെ ഇനി ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് മലയാളത്തിൽ തന്നെ ഒരു പ്രോജക്റ്റ് എഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ സാധിക്കട്ടെ എന്ന് ആശംസിക്കുന്നു.
I'm so happy if that happens. Seriously, that will be great. Yeah, I will be very happy. So thank you firstly, thank you for having me over. You're right, I don't do these kind of things. I was very skeptical before coming into this interview of sorts, but I must say that I felt very free chatting with you, and it was quite nice, a great experience, something that I'll never forget. And I wish you all the best with your show, and we should be in touch. I know this is something else that you promised over a phone call, but you owe me some lunch or something, or dinner or something, right?
Yes, I do.
For that. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Cheta.
you, and
Thank you.
thank you everybody for listening to Conversations. And Sanish, if anybody wants to know anything else indirectly, if anything, they want any references of the processes and things, feel free to have them access me, is what I would say.
Thank you, Cheta. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
Made in Kerala, made in